has the finest teens in the DMV. We know that they're active in the church, but I bet you didn't know how phenomenal they are in their schools and community. They are intelligent, many who were inducted into national honor societies. They are athletes. They are musicians. They are STEM students, project leaders, and computer theory instructors. Most importantly, they are children of God, all going to pursue higher education. There is nothing this graduating class cannot do. They are unstoppable, God-fearing, bold, brilliant. Blessings to our church family. Today, you are in for a treat. You will be blessed as they deliver one sermon given through the testimony of 7 voices.
Yo, you like me, cause I like me. Do you like me? See, I like me, cause he likes me. God likes me. Yo, you don't like me? I like me. Yo, you like me, cause I like me. Do you like me? See, I like me, cause he likes me. God likes me. Yo, you don't like me? Yo.
We are prosperous.
We are caring.
We are groundbreakers.
We are strong. We are brave.
We are ambitious.
We are chosen.
We are cool.
We are talented.
We are united.
We are innovators.
I am an athlete. I am intelligent. I am passionate. I am Alexis Lee, and I will be attending James Madison University, class of 2019.
I am intuitive. I am intellectual. I work for a recreational center. I volunteer at several different recreational centers. I am a volleyball manager. I am Erica Rush. I am going to Radford University.
I am brilliant. I am an honor roll student. I am a swimmer. I am the president of the senior youth. I am going places. My name is Cheyenne, and I will be attending St. John's University.
I am a lacrosse player. I am an All-American cheerleader. I am a member of the National Honor Society. I am attending the University of Connecticut in the fall.
I am prepared, focused, and diligent. I am Nigel Bullard, and I am attending Penn State in the fall.
I am a National Honor Society member. I am a football player. I'm a scholar, and I'm a track runner. I am Nicholas Grant, and I'll be attending Georgia Tech in the fall.
I am creative. I'm an actor. I'm on the SGA Executive Board. My name is Carl Green, and I will be attending NYU Tisch School of the Arts in the fall.
We are senior youth.
Alfred Street, get on your feet and put your hands together for our 2015 graduating class of senior youth.
Good morning, Alfred Street.
Good morning.
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Who is I am? Alexis Lee. Who is I am? I am. I may not know everything, but I do know who is I am is not proper grammar. Who is a pronoun, which is a word that can function by itself as a noun phrase, which has an indefinite pronoun as its head word, or which performs the same grammatical function as such a phrase. The word is a verb, which is the singular conjugation of the infinitive form to be.
Okay.
I hope I did not lose you all. I just wanted to make sure you all know that who is I am is not grammatically correct. Now, let me tell you who I am. I believe we all have different purposes and paths in life, but sometimes there's difficulty in deciphering what that path may be. However, for some of us, including myself, we learn a little earlier in life who is I am and subsequently who we are. As for me, I am a varsity cheerleading captain, soccer player, track runner, Girl Scout, member of the National Honor Society, taking 3 AP classes, and an active member of Alfred Street Senior Youth Ministry. Some of my happiest moments have come from these high school events, and I have loved every minute of it. In National Honor Society, as well as Girl Scouts, I have had great opportunities to give back to my community and say thank you to people who have helped me to get to where I am today. Friendships are very important to me because as an only child, my friends are who I spend a significant amount of time with. I know myself pretty well, or so I thought, because in 2013, God chose to reveal other plans he had for me. During that time, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Many people don't understand what I go through on a daily basis. My pancreas had failed, and I could have never imagined how significant my life was going to change. I had to make immediate adjustments to my daily activities, eating habits, and personal care just to ensure my health. As a result, I've had to grow up quickly. But through it all, I am an optimist, and I am excited for what the future holds. I thank God every day for being my savior through these hard times, and I know he will continue to guide me to do amazing things. So, when you see me, do you see I am?
What do you mean by I am? Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Erica Rush. When you see me, do you see I am? These are the questions that you as a congregation may be asking yourselves. Or maybe you're just asking, what the heck are these kids talking about? Let me see if I can break this question down further. Who is I am? I am is the sun and the sky. The reason I am able to wake up day after day. I am is the breath I inhale each and every second of every day. I am is the love and care I see in my family. I am is the reason I am who I am. I am is the one that you have come to praise. Because of I am, I will be receiving my high school diploma June 22nd, 2015. Be there. For me to get to where I am today took a challenging experience that changed my outlook on how I view myself and how I perceive God in my life. Now, many of you may have remembered a time in 2006 when it rained. But during this particular rain, it rained, and it kept raining, you know. During this storm, my home was demolished and flooded by over 20 feet of water. My home had been in my family for many years, and 16 years of memories were lost in that house. I thought life would be over, and it wouldn't be the same. I thought everything was over. I thought I would never find happiness, peace, security, the main things you need. Thought I'd never find that again. But I am restores. God was there to pick me up. He was there to provide my family shelter and to keep my family together through this hardship. I am is my rock. I am is God. My God. I am is my Lord and Savior, and no one can take him away. I mean, no one. Now, it may sound selfish when I say no one can take him away, but honestly, I really do mean no one. Like, God is in me, and the way that I connect with I am, through the way I walk, the way I talk, I carry myself. It's all because of the I am in me. God is my heart, my lungs, my skin color, my character. Now, you may not understand why I keep going on about all that I am is, but I believe there is someone in Alfred Street today who knows what I'm talking about when I say I am is my everything, my all in all. During the most difficult time of my life, God helped me find who I am. I know now who I am is because I know who God is to me. Well, now that I have defined who I am is, my man's God. I am is the one that forgives and shows mercy to all who puts complete beliefs and faith in him.
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Cheyenne Taylor. Before you can come to the answer, you must first be able to determine if you have had an I am moment. This moment could occur at any time in your life. For some, it may be during dreams or visions when you receive salvation or during a life-changing experience. An I am moment is the moment where you encounter God and you find out his plan for your life. Some examples of I am moments are Samuel in the temple being called by God, or Paul on the way to Damascus, or even when the disciples encountered Jesus and he said, "Follow me, I will make you fishers of men." In my I am moment, I began to understand how incredible God is and his plan for my life. When taking my anatomy and physiology course my junior year, God himself became clear. We were learning about the eye and how it works. And I was astonished when I realized that no one else but God can make it so that when light enters through your pupil, it bends to focus on your retina, reacting with your cornea, lens, aqueous, and vitreous humor, refracting the light so that when the light enters the rods and cones, the image is formed. But the image is formed upside down into the rods and cones initiate impulse through the optic nerve to the occipital lobe where the image is interpreted and corrected. Church, are you still with me? You see, just like the eye, God has a way of taking situations that seem upside down and creates an impulse to our souls that resonates through our bodies where we now have a clear understanding, guidance, and instructions to what we have to do. Yes. Our purpose, hence our I am moment. Through this lesson of the I realized I am and how great God's creations are, and that only I am can make these intricate and complex beings. If God can be that detailed with our eyes, what makes you think he wouldn't show even more detail with our lives? I don't know about you, but that makes me feel good. In my anatomy and physiology class, I found my I am moment. I found my calling to take care and nurture God's creations in life. I have peace knowing that I am has a plan for me, a plan to be a doctor.
Yes.
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Jana Lee. As Cheyenne mentioned, there are many I am moments in the Bible. But today, let's focus on Moses and his I am moment. Moses, a child of a Hebrew slave, was adopted by an Egyptian princess, the daughter of the Pharaoh. He was raised as the prince of the Egyptians, yet in his early years, raised by his biological mother, never forgetting that he was a Hebrew. As a man, he became very agitated and disgusted seeing his own people suffer under the hands of the Egyptians. He lost his temper one day and killed an Egyptian who was beating on a Hebrew slave. Afraid of everyone knowing what he had done, Moses ran away to live in the land of Midian. While Moses was in exile, God never forgot the troubles of the people of Israel. One day, Moses was taking care of Jethro's sheep when he came to Horeb, the mountain of God. He was intrigued by a bush, but something about this bush wasn't right. How can this bush be burning, but not burning up, Moses asked to himself. God called Moses over and told him about the cries he has heard and the suffering he has seen from the Israelites in Egypt. God gave Moses instruction to go to Pharaoh and lead his people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. This was it, Moses' I am moment. One,
because God spoke to him, and 2, because God gave him clear instruction. Now me, I'm very busy. From lacrosse to basketball to AP classes, I have a lot going on. I couldn't imagine what Moses must have felt in the midst of his daily life when God decided it was time for his I am moment. Moses answered God's call, acknowledging, "Here I am," by answering I am's call with "I am here." Let me say that again. Moses acknowledges God's call with "I am here." Moses stopped all he was doing to answer God's call in his life. Alfred, are we ready to stop and answer God's call? At that point, Moses was open to accepting God's call in his life. And with that acceptance, before he even realized, Moses allowed God to give clear direction on the plan and purpose for his life. But here's the tricky part. Moses answered God's call without knowing what God's plan even was. God tells us that he knows the plans for us, plans to prosper us and not harm us, plans to give us hope and a future. This is what God wanted for the children of Israel, and Moses was chosen to lead that cause. Are we ready for our I am moment? Honestly, life without an I am moment can leave you lost and confused. Without a relationship with God, without his plan for your life, what are you to do? That's easy. Nothing. It's hard to move anywhere without direction or without a plan. You have to be willing to answer I am's call and trust that I am's plan for your life is exactly what you need.
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Nigel Ballard. Through the burning bush, God spoke to Moses and told him that it was he that would deliver his people from Egypt. But Moses could not easily accept this task. Moses doubted his abilities. He did not feel adequate or qualified enough to handle the mission that the Lord asked of him. In Exodus chapter 4, verse 1, Moses responded to the Lord's instructions by asking, "What if they won't believe me and will not obey me, but say, 'The Lord did not appear to you'?" You see, Moses had a couple of concerns, and this morning I will address one of them. First, Moses was concerned about how the people would perceive him and how they would know if it was their Lord, their God, who truly sent him. Remember, Moses ran away from Egypt to Midian after killing an Egyptian that was persecuting one of the Hebrew slaves. And now, the Lord is telling him to go back to the very place that he ran away from. I have a similar story where I too had to confront the issues of my past. It was sophomore year at a Christian private high school. I had great grades, I played sports, and was considered a bright student by most teachers. None of these facts seemed enough to keep me from a consequence made by one little mistake. Now let me assure you, I did not murder anyone like Moses. But what happened somehow was enough to get me expelled. In the middle of my sophomore year, I was asked to leave my school and my friends. I was confused, and I felt the consequence was not fitting of the deed I had committed. Never did I think that I would mess up in such a way that would get me kicked out of school. I felt isolated and stranded. I believe this is how Moses must have felt. Moses was only defending someone being beaten, and he stepped in and did what he thought was right in that moment. Being that it was the middle of my sophomore year and that I had just received serious disciplinary action, I could not get into another private school for the second semester, so I attended my local public school. As the rest of my sophomore year went on, in my new public school, I became more comfortable. There were a lot more people like myself, and at the time, I felt happier than I had in a long time. I considered staying there for the rest of high school, but then I was faced with the possibility of going back to private school. Part of me just wanted to stay where I felt comfortable, but another part of me was saying that I needed to challenge myself more and take this opportunity to show that I could succeed in an environment where I was the minority. Moses, too, was worried about having to return to the place he once called home. Moses knew that both the Hebrews and Egyptians were aware of his previous actions. He wondered, How could he lead them after everyone knew what he had done? Moses needed the Lord to convince himself that he could do it and show the Hebrew people that he came for a specific purpose. Like Moses, this is where I began to struggle with deciding whether to return to a place that I had to leave or stay where I felt content and complacent. Keyword, complacent. I wondered, how would I be perceived? I remember feeling outright fear to return to private school. I knew a lot of them heard about my previous history, and I felt that they would prejudge me. It frightened me knowing that I could potentially be shunned based on my past. I came to understand that there was no way of avoiding judgment and that I could not do it on my own. This realization made me put my trust in God. Without God, I would not be able to return to such an unlikely situation. In the end, I decided that I would attend private school. Even though I was uncertain on what God had planned for me, I knew that there was a reason that this opportunity was afforded to me. I learned that people's perceptions are not my reality and do not define who I am. I have excelled more at Bishop Ireton High School than I have at any other schools. With the achievements of my senior year, I am actively breaking the stereotypes that black males are not intelligent. I will be graduating with a GPA of 4.3 and attending Penn State in the fall as a biomedical engineering major. I know that all of these great achievements would not have been possible if it were not for God leading me down the path that he did. It was hard at times, but God has truly showed me who he is in order for me to recognize who I am.
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Nicholas Grant. What if your doubt is something you can't will yourself out of? While Moses was concerned about people's perception of him, he also had another doubt. This brings us to our second point, Moses doubting himself. My situation brought me to a point where I began to question my faith, myself, and God. During my sophomore year, I started to notice that I was beginning to lose strength in my right arm and my fingers would not function normally. I had no clue what was going on. Maybe it was a sports injury. Maybe I slept wrong. My mom thought it was carpal tunnel syndrome. Nobody had any idea what was going on. So I decided not to worry about it and figured my arm would get better soon. However, as time went on, my arm continued to get worse, and the function of my hand continued to decrease as well. My hand had gotten so bad that I had lost the ability to simply flex my fingers. It was getting to a point where I could barely start my car. It was even beginning to affect my athleticism. I grew frustrated and focused my anger towards God for allowing this to happen to me. Because of the decreasing ability in my right hand, my family and I decided to visit multiple hand specialists to see what was wrong. After multiple tests and MRIs, I was diagnosed with monomelic amyotrophy. Monomelic amyotrophy is the progressive degeneration of the motor neurons in the brain affecting the hand and arm. I could only imagine what Moses felt like when God appeared to him, instructing him that he would have to tell Pharaoh to let his people go. When God put the calling on Moses' life to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses felt as if he was not fit for the job, given his struggle to speak in front of the masses. How could God expect Moses to speak in front of the masses, let alone Pharaoh, when he had a speaking problem? It's not like God didn't know Moses had a speaking problem, so why did he choose him? Moses' brother Aaron was a much better speaker than he was at the time. Aaron was much better suited for this job. How am I supposed to live my life as a normal teenager when I constantly have to explain why I'm left-hand dominant, but naturally right-handed, or why I can't give a man a firm handshake. Moses must have asked, why me? Why was I given this big responsibility when I have this even bigger disability that makes my task impossible? This led me to the question of, is I am enough? Is God enough? Even though God had instructed Moses on what to do and had shown Moses through wondrous acts of how he would be with Moses throughout the task, Moses still had doubt. One day, Pastor Wesley preached a sermon that really stuck with me. He preached that God does not always get you out of your situation, but he does give you the strength to deal with your situation. Moses did not instantly come out of his speaking hindrance so that he could free the Israelites. God sent Aaron to Moses to help him get through his struggle of speaking so that soon enough, he had the confidence to go up to Pharaoh and demand to let his people go. God gave me family and friends to keep me from getting down on myself. And that has given me the strength to push through. The disease did not spread throughout my body, which would have killed me. I could still play football my senior year. And when I went into surgery and I got out, most people need painkillers after their surgery. When I got out the surgery and I woke up, I felt no pain. Nothing was wrong with me. The surgeons could not understand how I could not feel pain. Even though I have not been healed physically, that's how I knew God has been with me this whole time. My condition is said to be incurable. So if my arm returns to normal, you know what? Praise be to God. But if my arm doesn't return to normal, praise be to God. Because I know that with him and through him, I'll be just fine. Because of my experience, I know that I am is enough.
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Who is I am?
Carl Green. At first glance, it seems like an easy task to identify who God says we are. All it takes is a picking up of a Bible, or in some cases, a smartphone, and a quick Google search or chat with Siri. And there we have it. Outlined and in detail, it says who God says we are. Out of all the trivial questions we ask Google on a daily basis, knowing who God says you are is perhaps one of the most important ones. Truly identifying with who God says you are goes further than a computer screen or the search results on your favorite web browser. To truly realize that I am is enough, we must first be able to identify our identity with who God says we are. I'll break it down for you. I've been in performing arts since I was in elementary school, and I really started getting into acting my freshman year of high school. To better illustrate this concept of identifying your identity with who God says you are, I'll take you on a Crash Acting 101 course. As an actor, when first presented with the script, the process begins with line memorization, followed by a strict rehearsal process in which you work closely with the director in bringing a vision to life on stage. Uta Hagen, a renowned German-American actress and a drama teacher, taught the Uta Hagen technique, which in summary focuses on discovering who your character is based upon a series of 9 questions. The first of them being, who am I? Uta Hagen taught the answer to the most straightforward yet complex question was found quite simply in the basis of the script. Studying the script carefully, the actor becomes effective in picking up on the character's traits and nuances the playwright has outlined for that particular character. Performing at one's best is contingent on one's ability to identify who they truly are. You may still think I'm talking about acting, but I'm talking about your life and the script that has been written for you. 1 Peter 2:9 says that we are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special people. Wait right there. God has already outlined the script for your life. You are a chosen generation. You are a royal priesthood. You are a holy nation, God's own special people. Knowing that ought to change your life. We should never hold our heads down feeling discouraged because we are royalty, chosen specifically to proclaim the praises of the I am. Romans 8:37 says that we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. The next time temptation comes knocking or fear is lurking in the shadows, I can rest assured, knowing that my identity in I am is steadfast, unmovable, concrete, and never wavering.
It sounds easy, doesn't it, to embrace the identity that God has given us and follow the path that we were put on? But let's be real, everyone has doubts. The reality is, it can be scary to accept who God says we are because it may not be who you think you are or who you thought you wanted to be. Everyone, even members of Alfred Street Baptist Church, may do things that isn't always so holy. The guilt from your actions ensues, making it harder to accept the great things God says about you because you may feel as if you are not worthy. Moses had to accept that no matter how guilty he felt for killing another man or not worthy enough because of the way he spoke, God still chose him. God chose us by dying on the cross. He took the ultimate humiliation by going to Calvary and dying for all sinners, although he never once sinned. We need to accept who God says we are because we can only know who we are after we know who God is and what he has done for us. And because of what he has done, we are worthy.
Now, sometimes when the butterflies get to going in my stomach, my hands get a little clammy and my heart starts thumping before a performance. I think back on my script and how I must embody my character. Anxiously waiting backstage, sometimes fear hangs heavy, causing me to question myself, my ability, and the work I've put into building a strong character. You still think I'm talking about performing on a stage for an audience, but I'm talking about my life. God has given us all the tools we need. He has outlined everything he has called us to be, but sometimes we can get stuck in doubt and trapped in unbelief. Even though we think we may know God's purpose, life has a way of getting us stuck in stagnation. But we've got to move. Now is the time to lay aside the doubt, the questioning, the sin that so easily entangles us, and press on towards the goal for the prize of the upward call in Christ Jesus. It's time to step out on faith. Embrace the identity that the I am says about you and let it change your life. But the script doesn't stop there. Once the performance has ended and the curtain is closed, there is a reward far greater than that of applause for an audience, a standing ovation or a bouquet of roses, and that is the well done of the director. Etched in his director's chair is the name I am. And that I am is Jesus Christ, who did not stay on the cross but was resurrected from the dead. He sits high and he looks low, and through his script he has given us every detail about our identity. Because of I am's death and resurrection, we now have a new identity. So now it's up to us to identify our I am given identity, accept it, and move in it. Because of his death, I am.
I am a child of God, smart, persistent, and strong.
I am redeemed, restored, and renewed.
I am healed by his stripes.
I am more than a conqueror.
I am saved by his grace.
I am beautifully and wonderfully made, created in his own image.
We are because he lives.
Would you just help me sincerely give thanks to God for these? There aren't words that describe how awesome these young people are. Come on, let's let them know that we appreciate how God has used them on this Sunday morning. We thank God for Alexis and Jana and Nigel, and Nicholas and Eric and Cheyenne and Carl, and how the Lord spoke to us through them about knowing who you are. And what an awesome testimony through senior youth. Imagine where your life would be if you got right with God before you were 18 like they are. Wouldn't it be an amazing gift? You've heard a sermon today, and the Word of God teaches us whenever God speaks, there may be someone who's responding. Maybe your response this morning is to simply tighten your life up with the Lord, to make a decision that if God could do it through the youth, imagine what God is trying to do through you. Or maybe your desire is to render your life to the Lord Jesus Christ. And maybe someone today, to be certain that you're connected to a church family, that there's no secret about how awesome and stellar these young people are. They have been shaped and trained and poured into by so much love in this place and in their homes. You ought to want your children to be part of something like that. You ought to want to raise your children to be stellar and saved like the ones you've seen today.